The moment the lights hit the center of the ring, the atmosphere shifted from the familiar scent of a high-stakes spectacle to something far more clinical and predatory. For years, the narrative surrounding Jake Paul had been built on a sturdy, if somewhat artificial, foundation of disruption. A digital age icon proving that
Gervonta Davis was being very difficult to work with, and Netflix was just waiting for a reason.
Yeah, we think he broke his jaw. He's fine. We met with Netflix afterwards. He took a shower. He drove himself to the hospital. A broken jaw is very common in sports, particularly in boxing or MMA, and I think the recovery time...
bravado and a relentless work ethic could bridge the gap between social media fame and professional pugilism. But when the cage of the ring closed and he stood across from Anthony Joshua, the facade didn't just crack, it disintegrated. The most haunting detail of the entire evening wasn't the physical
falling.
I love this shit, and I'm going to come back and get a world championship belt at some point.
Are you surprised you went 6 rounds with the former 2-time unified heavyweight champion?
Honestly, I'm not surprised. I just got tired, to be honest.
Violence, but the quiet, desperate plea for mercy. Before the first bell even rang, the problem child reportedly leaned in and whispered requests for leniency, a stark contrast to the viral clips and aggressive marketing that fueled the event's ticket sales. It was the sound of a man who suddenly realized that the script he had been writing for himself didn't apply to a 2-time unified heavyweight champion. Joshua wasn't there to play a character in a content creator's vlog. He was there to conduct a masterclass in professional destruction, and the result was a brutal awakening that has now spilled out of the ring and into the cold, uncompromising halls of the judicial system. What we are witnessing now is the total implosion of a business model that relied on hype over substance. The aftermath of the Joshua fight hasn't just left Jake with a fractured jaw. It has left him entangled in a catastrophic $100 million lawsuit with Netflix, a platform that once seemed like his greatest ally. This isn't just a legal disagreement over broadcast rights or minor contractual hiccups. This is a full-scale corporate offensive. When a billion-dollar streaming giant realizes it gambled its prestige and its planned expansion into the sporting world on a foundation of unpredictability and chaos, it doesn't just cut ties. It seeks to recoup the massive damages caused by that instability. The lawsuit alleges a level of betrayal and intentional violation that could effectively terminate the era of influencer boxing as we know it. The focus has shifted from how many pay-per-view buys were generated to the dark, internal mechanics of promotion that Netflix now claims was built on deception and unfulfilled promises. The physical reality of the fight served as the ultimate catalyst for this legal storm. Anthony Joshua didn't just win. He dismantled the very idea of Jake Paul as a legitimate heavyweight contender. 4-6 rounds. Joshua didn't even feel the need to throw a straight right hand, a terrifying testament to the vast gulf in skill. He treated the encounter with a calm, measured strategy that was arguably more frightening than a first-round knockout. By choosing to let the fight progress, Joshua allowed the world to watch the gradual accumulation of fear in his opponent's eyes. It was a slow-motion car crash where every defensive movement from Jake felt less like a tactical choice and more like a primal survival instinct. When the knockdowns finally came in the 5th round, they weren't the result of lucky shots. They were the inevitable conclusion of a human body reaching its absolute limit under the pressure of superior force. The image of the canvas twice meeting Jake's back was a visual representation of a fantasy shattering in real time. However, the drama intensified exponentially once the medical reports and backstage whispers began to leak. The fractured jaw was a turning point where the fun of the event evaporated. In the world of combat sports, injuries are expected, but the way this particular injury was handled and the subsequent impact it had on other locked-in deals is what triggered the legal frenzy. Netflix's lawsuit reportedly hinges on the cancellation of the Gervonta Davis fight, a massive pillar in their sports expansion strategy that was allegedly derailed by the fallout of the Joshua disaster. In corporate law, when a deal of that magnitude is scrapped without proper consultation or due to intentional negligence, the repercussions are total. The term intentional in these legal filings is a radioactive word. It suggests that the parties involved understood the risks and the potential for failure, but proceeded in a way that prioritized personal gain over contractual obligations. If this is proven, it doesn't just cost money. It brands a promoter as toxic, ensuring that no major platform will ever risk their shareholders' capital on them again. There is something deeply unsettling about the way the post-fight narrative was attempted to be spun. Seeing Jake try to transform hospital footage and images of titanium jaw implants into engaging content was the moment the audience's collective patience ran out. There's a fundamental difference between the grit of a warrior and the desperation of a marketer trying to salvage a sinking brand. Real confidence doesn't need to be edited and uploaded with a catchy caption. It is self-evident. Anthony Joshua's composure in the aftermath, his ability to walk to the crowd, offer a quiet apology to Jake's mother, and treat the entire event as just a fight game, showed the world what true professional stature looks like. It made the entire Paul operation look like a collection of amateurs who had accidentally walked into a high-stakes board meeting without a pen. The implications of this lawsuit extend far beyond a single fighter's bank account. We are seeing a fundamental shift in how corporations view the creator economy. For a while, the chaos that influencers brought was seen as an asset, a way to cut through the noise and capture a younger, more volatile demographic. But as Netflix is now demonstrating, there is a ceiling to that tolerance. When hundreds of millions of dollars are invested in infrastructure, marketing, and global distribution, unpredictability becomes a liability. The streaming platform didn't join forces with the boxing world for the thrill of a broken jaw and a canceled match. They joined for the reliability of a professional sport. By failing to deliver that stability, the Paul brand has inadvertently created a roadmap for how other creators might be excluded from major corporate partnerships in the future. The trust has been burned, and in the world of high finance, that is a fire that rarely leaves survivors. Moreover, the rumors of other fighters being difficult to work with and contracts being pushed to their breaking points suggest a systemic failure. It wasn't just one night that went wrong. It was a culture of hype at any cost, finally meeting a wall that wouldn't move. When you operate on the edge of legitimacy, you have no margin for error. Joshua's victory stripped away the protection that celebrity status usually affords. Once he was revealed as physically vulnerable and technically outclassed, the legal teams felt empowered to scrutinize every text message, every internal email, and every handshake agreement that had been made leading up to the event. The discovery phase of a $100 million lawsuit is a brutal process where carefully crafted public personas are shredded by the reality of private communications. If there are secrets buried in the logistics of these fights, they are about to be dragged into the light, and the fallout could be much uglier than anything we saw in the ring. This situation serves as a grim reminder that fame is a double-edged sword. It amplifies the glory of the ascent, but it makes the descent public painful and permanent.